So what's on your mind as you took a few minutes away? What questions do you have? What do you want to talk about real quick? And then we're going to jump into SWOT analysis. Anything? Cool. SWOT analysis it is. Does everybody know what a SWOT analysis is? The strategy people in the room do, right? This is a nice, a SWOT analysis is a nice hybrid as you jump from understanding who you are, your internal stuff, strengths and weaknesses is a good example. Obviously, we're talking about you, the individuals, the personal brand, but strategy folks use SWOT analysis on their products and on their companies and on their markets as they're doing multiple things. So why not apply that to you as a person? Has anybody done that? Usually 1 or 2 out of 100. Right, Carl and David, because we're geeks. We're geeks about this stuff. But usually 1 or 2 out of 100 have applied any of this. And that's why you're going to become 1 or 2 out of 100. Big differentiator. Applying a SWOT analysis to yourself is a really fun exercise. This tool is very effective for products and businesses to understand and analyze their strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. It makes a ton of logical sense that you would apply the same concept to yourself. That's why I put this in the strategic career plan. So the hybrid here is the internal piece, the strengths and weaknesses. Yours. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And then the external piece would be that transition into the environment and the trends that we're talking about. That's the external factors. So we're going to cover this a little bit, and then we're going to pop back into the define yourself. Understand, define yourself part with core values, mission, and vision. But I wanted to jump right into the SWOT analysis because I think it's a great time to talk about it based on our conversation with strategy going into the break. Cool? All right. So on your sheet, or maybe even create a new one, and draw a plus sign. Something that looks like this. Whoops, that's my little voiceover. I don't know if you hear that. I do. Draw a plus sign on your sheet. And in the quadrants, you can see where you do put an SW, an O, and a T. And then on the strengths quadrant, please write down a few of your strengths. Now this time I'm going to help you cheat a little bit and tell you what a common mistake is. Most people and most businesses put their core competencies and their skills down as strengths. Don't repeat yourself here. Before we were talking about skills that make up core competencies. That's different than strengths. The only time that you can put down a core competency as a strength is if you can prove to me and everyone else in this room that you're better than everybody else at that. That would be a strength. So you can't put communications down as a strength if you're a commodity. Got it? Separate yourself from your commodity in some way and prove it to me, and that becomes a strength.
So can you give us an example of one, just so we can get on the right mindset?
Absolutely. Well, communication skills. Many communication skills. Let's pick on me a little bit. And picking on me will be easy because this is actually going to be a compliment for me. So it's not even picking on me. Now, part of my skills and some of my weaknesses are around communications. My strengths are my voice, the way I project, my confidence. I can stand in front of a room and let anybody drive the conversation. I can do an internet radio show. I can do a traditional radio show. I can interview famous and very popular CEOs and not be afraid. That's a strength. Why? How many people out of 100 can do that? 1 or 2. So when I talk about my communication skills and my ability to listen, my ability to interview, which in my case I put into my bucket of communication skills, and then I break the interviewing piece down. Listening is a big one for me. I can't be effective if I'm not listening well. For me, listening is a strength for me. I'm a better listener than you. You know why I know I'm a better listener than you? Because of my intuition and how I watch people behave. I pay more attention to what is happening in the room than the words coming out. I'm a brand guy, not marketing. So when someone's telling me something and I can tell they're lying to themselves, I will tell them that they're lying to themselves. They're not lying out loud. They're ethical. They're lying to themselves. I can tell. I'm a really good listener. That's a strength. You can put listening down as a skill, maybe even a core competency. But can you put it down as a strength? Are you with me? That's one example. You have to be really good.
I'm with you. How can it be a skill and a core competency, but not a strength?
Well, I'm going to allow you to make it a strength, that you're extra strong. It's a strength of yours if you're better than everybody else. We're not going to pretend here. You can't go out and say that one of your strengths is listening if you don't prove to me that you're stronger than everybody else. Different than the skill of listening. There's more room to give in developing a skill, in learning, and turning that into a core competency where you're most competent in. 80% of your day is supposed to be around listening, perhaps, because that's how you make money. That's why people pay you, because you're so great at listening. How do you leverage that to be effective? Well, if you can, then you probably got a strength. Other strengths, these are physical characteristics. I'm tall and skinny. Sorry, that benefits me. I walk into a room, this is a strength. I walk into a room and most people, not everybody, most people assume credibility because I'm tall. That doesn't mean if you're short that you don't have credibility, but we're human beings. And that's part of the deal. Healthy, looking healthy is a strength. Because if you don't look healthy, people are going to assume in the personal brand category that you may not be able to produce. Am I wrong? I've interviewed thousands of executives about so many subjects, and I'm telling you, the people that came in my office looked healthy, 100%. They got to where they are. The kind of success as an entrepreneur, the kind of success as a business leader, the kind of success as a community leader, the type, kind, brand of success, because they have a strength of looking healthy.
Is that part of marketing?
Is looking healthy part of marketing?
Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
But it's not a brand, it's
The brand related to health?
well, looking healthy is marketing. Once you know the person, you realize that they are healthy, that's their brand.
Being healthy is a brand. I know a lot of people, you do too, that look healthy and aren't. Now, I told you that these executives that are coming through my revolving door and entrepreneurs that are a different kind, there's something A player about them. Big difference between A- and A+. Big difference. And looking healthy is part of it. But being healthy might not be there. I've had my fair share of people that I thought were completely healthy die of a heart attack at 57 years old. Young, dynamic, doing amazing things, look healthy, they exercise all the time, they kind of eat well. Maybe they used to smoke or something. The perception of health was there. Not just in the way they looked, but when we have a conversation, I see it in their eyes. They're eager, they're excited, their future is bright, they have a lot to live for, there's a lot of hope, good things are going on, right? But something's going on in the background. Marketing. In my office, dressed up, looking good, sharp, credibility. You got my attention. People have dropped dead in periods of time in my life that I've known them and have shocked me. And in different ways too. Even suicide. My wife's partner in her business and a leader in the community committed suicide last month. We had no idea. He's not healthy. He wasn't healthy in his mind. But he was sharp. He was the sharpest dressed man at really high-end events, awards ceremonies that we've been to recently where my wife won some awards for. She does custom products for weddings and other family social stuff. He was there 2 weeks before, looking great. He wasn't healthy. Now this gets into core values and a lot of different things. That's a bad example maybe because he was sick. You know, he was really ill and he was seeing his doctors and he didn't have hope. But others that aren't healthy, they might look healthy and they have some strengths within their genes, but they don't live a healthy lifestyle. Their values that they say they don't live is a big, big differentiator in who you are versus what you portray. Values.
So if I said one of my strengths is that I'm detail oriented, is
Yeah.
that a strength? Okay.
To some people, that.
Well, now,
Hey,
it's,
I know I'm no, maybe not. Right.
let's
I
use,
rethink that one.
let's use detail oriented. How many people in the room are detail oriented? Half. How many people would put detail oriented as a strength? Just about everybody. Let's talk about that. Okay? I want to know who is the most detail-oriented person in the room. Okay? Who wants to give me a case for why I should buy detail orientation versus being happy to have someone who's going to pay attention to my details because I'm not detail-oriented? Who is so strong that they can put it down as a strength? Give me your case. So the comment is on depends. Depends, not the diapers, but depends applies to lots of things, and here's our differentiator. So many people can be detail-oriented into a specific discipline or industry. If it's a strength, you're detail-oriented in everything you do. Your whole life is detail-oriented. So you don't say, I'm detail-oriented with my client, but my kitchen is a disaster, right? Everything about you is detail-oriented, and you prove it in everything you do. You prove it with how you communicate with me, right? The details that you share.
I'm thinking of this word balance, where I know I'm particularly detail-oriented when it's needed, and I can also be very expansive, and I can play in between that continuum.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you consider the whole picture, the range that a person's capable of moving around from?
How do you...
I mean, when you consider, like, when somebody has a strength, I have the strength to be detail-oriented. I could see things in a very refined and sensitive way,
Right.
and hear things in that way, beyond
Okay.
most people's level of hearing. But I can also jump over into seeing the global picture. I can see all of...
Here's the detail differentiator is the question in the comment. How do you cross detail orientation into different parts of your life, essentially? And I'm telling you, I know you're detail-oriented, I know you're detail-oriented, but you're not proving to me, and thanks for playing. I'm going to pick on people, but this is how we get better, right? You're not proving to me that you're detail-oriented because you're not giving me details.
You want facts to prove.
I want the communication to come out and have an example of a detail immediately. So I'm going to think, man, she's detail-oriented.
Well, I bounce one check in my life.
Great. But in our experience, in our example right now, the details, that's an example of a detail. But truly good strength, detail-oriented people are going to live and behave details all the time. Everything about you is going to be detail-oriented, including the way that you tell a story.
To me, that's not a strength then. If you're
Well,
detail-oriented in everything in your life, to me, that's not a strength.
Well, and there you go. The comment there is, being that detail-oriented would not be a strength for some people. It might even be perceived as a weakness. Now your market comes to play. Who is going to buy your detail orientation? That's a strength to those people. It's a weakness to somebody else. So when you're marketing yourself, do you care about the people that don't care about your detail orientation? Of course you don't. You care about the people that say, I need that kind of detail. I need the person who, when I come into my office and my tie's not straight, they're going to straighten it for me, right? When my wallet's sticking out, they're going to push it in or tell me to. The details, everything about the details. So are you detail-oriented in your accounting skills, Deb, or are you detail-oriented in everything you do?
It seems like it's everything I do. Actually, Tom calls me emo. But like our house, everything has to be, I don't like stuff laying around, I don't like clutter, I don't like junk, so everything is always picked up and put away.
Perfect example. So if I go to Deb's house and she says, I need coriander, and I don't know where to go, and she can drive me right there, and I open up a cabinet, and it is alphabetical. Not that quite. But I can find it because the details in the kitchen, you're living and breathing and being detail-oriented, and I can feel it as I go in. Put that down as a strength. Okay? Also, difference. The story. Did you get that? They spoke for about the same period of time, and the example had detail. Okay? Now, folks, this is important because if you're going to market yourself as being something, be it. In every single piece. Passion and desire around these things make it easy. You don't even have to think about it. You are. I'm going to say when someone comes to me and says, I need someone detail-oriented, and if I did a search in my database for details, and based on the way I do notes on people, I'm not very detail-oriented, but I have a huge database and a lot of contacts, and I need to organize it so I can be a good connector, right? My ability to connect the right people is a strength. I prove it because of my success as an executive recruiter compared to someone who's good at networking. So when I make a note about detail orientation and someone says, I need someone, I'm a mess, and I need someone to pay attention to every single detail for me, I'm going to go through and say, who did I tag as detail-oriented? Brand. Tag. And the only time where branding comes into the equation, like the cattle. Brand, idea in my mind, no doubt about it, unmistakable personal brand, detail-oriented. Who's going to get the call? And that's happened. I learned that you don't do the bookkeeping as much, but I provided a referral for you about a year ago. The timing wasn't, it didn't matter anymore, and I learned, but it was because of that feedback. I need someone who will keep track of every penny. Because a lot of us don't. I certainly don't. That differentiator is huge. So that's how you funnel down and get referred, based on proving your strengths around detail orientation or being stronger than everybody else in communication skills, leadership, public speaking, engineering, psychotherapy, strategy. Okay? So your list of strengths is going to get a little smaller, is it not? If you become critical, a little painful, isn't your strengths going to become a smaller list than, say, your skills and your core competencies? So you break it down like this. So next time you're being interviewed for a job, for fundraising, by someone you want to hire and they're interviewing you, right? Or whatever it is that you do, and they want to talk about your strengths, how many strengths are you going to share with them? Are you going to share all of your skills, or are you going to share your strengths? Your strengths. How many do you have? Not many. If you follow my philosophy on this.
So strength, if I can synthesize, is basically who you are. Just who you are, and it's also why somebody would hire you. It's your main product is who you are.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly part of it. When you pull these things together, people are buying your core competencies, and they trust you because of your strengths. It's a good way I like to look at it. They're buying your core competencies. That's what you're most competent in, and there's a price tag associated to that. Starting a business, building a business, running sales for a company, right? Fill in your own blank. Those core competencies, 80% of your time, and they're buying your time, and 80% of your time is around these core competencies, that's what they're buying. Your strengths are going to help them trust you quickly. And you're going to continue to prove your ability to them because you're so strong at, pick a core competency as an example.
I get things done.
You get things done. Do you get things done better than everyone else around you?
Often.
I know a ton of people that get things done. So proving that you get things done might actually be the strength. You with me? Getting things done might mean a lot to a business owner. Okay? But proving that you get things done is a strength. Not everyone can prove they get things done. At least not in this room right now. That would be a strength.
I had a client that had 2 houses that she needed to shut up and a business she needed to empty and clean. And I did it all in less than 3 months.
Okay? I did it all in less than 3 months versus I did it all in less than 3 months. Things to work on. Okay? When you really, truly understand what you deliver and what you bring to the table, the confidence that comes up with it, you hit us between the eyes with it. That's a strength. That would be a communication strength. You with me on that little difference? Oh my gosh, this hurts. The details in the differences.
I didn't raise my hand for details.
I know. But and that's just fine. The details that I'm bringing to this room on the difference between A and A+ communications. I mean, folks, you're giving me great examples. Everyone in this room is giving me great examples. And we're just doing some critical thinking. We're breaking it down to the point where I want you to be so pithy and bottom dollar, common denominator, with your own examples, that next time you say it, you prove it. Hard to do. Strategy's hard to do. Okay, so you understand what you're going to put down as a strength, and you're going to critically think yourself to death on the thing to make sure that it's not just a core competency. Fair? You promise to do that?
Can you say that one more time? People buy core competencies and what was the rest of your sentence?
They trust you because of your strengths. That's probably what I said. Was that it? Go back to the tape. That's Deb. Right. No, I'm testing the listening. Is that what I said? I probably said something very close to that because that's what I believe. Now, this experience, mine, comes from interviewing so many different people, raising money for so many different businesses, starting companies, failures and successes, and what are the differences across the board. These little tiny things, these little turns of communication, as an example, are the differences. These little details mean feeling and experience to me and to you. The little details. So you don't have to be detail-oriented. You just have to be so self-aware and so confident and so competent that you hit us between the eyes with your value proposition, your core competencies, your strengths. You put it all together, that's why it's so hard. Our water level is going to be pretty high today. Okay. Any questions on strengths? So what would a weakness be? Now, you know, we've all been interviewed by that stupid HR person that says, tell me about your weaknesses, right? Except for maybe the serial entrepreneurs in the room that have never interviewed for a position, but work with me here. For you, it's probably been the person that might fund you, right? And they want to know about your weaknesses. They're either going to say, tell me about your weaknesses, or they're going to, if they're really good interviewers, maybe even as a strength, right? They're going to make you talk about your weaknesses and you don't even know it. So how do you be so self-aware that you understand your weaknesses to the point where you can have a good, confident, competent conversation about your weaknesses. That's the critical point here. How can you share with me what your weaknesses are without scaring me away? This is also difficult. The job seekers in the room know that when you're interviewing, they're going to want to know what your weaknesses are. Those raising money or trying to hire somebody, if you're trying to hire a sophisticated person for your company and they want to know your weaknesses to determine if they can fill the gaps or not, you want to be able to have that conversation, right? So what do I mean by weaknesses?
Things that are detrimental to your success.
Things that are detrimental to your success.
Things you're not good at.
Okay, I'll toss out what I think is a real weakness of
Okay.
mine.
Of yours?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because, I mean, and this is being probably really honest, because I'm after I say this. Finishing
I hope you
projects-
do. I hope you have a
finishing
great relationship
projects,
after
I'm
this.
fabulous at finishing them, and I'm terrible at finishing them. So I just hired people around me who do it for me.
Okay, say that again.
But I'm bad at finishing things. I'm bad at completion.
Okay, but you just proved to me that I trust your ability to counter a weakness of following through. Did I hear you right? She can counter the weakness of following through by hiring people that can. I don't care that you can't follow through. I'm going to utilize your strengths and make sure that we counter your weakness of following through or not following through by making sure that we have people around you that do.
But I would say, wouldn't you say that that is a legitimate, I mean, if you're really talking about weaknesses,
Yeah.
leave me on my own.
Yeah, that's a legitimate good example of a weakness. And the lesson here, as we're analyzing our weaknesses, this is a SWOT analysis, right? If we're analyzing the weakness, we're going to make sure that we understand how to communicate the weakness to a point where we can reflect confidence in the ability to counter the weakness. If we can't, then we look at the weakness in two different ways. Is it a weakness that does not matter to my ability to be successful? Drop it. Forget about it. If the conversation comes up, then it's probably not a fit. Move on. Or is it a weakness that it's going to benefit you to work on it, to develop that? When you work with somebody like me, I'm going to probably say, you know, I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time on making sure that you're excellent at following through. You're probably best spent somewhere else. Focus on your strengths. Delegate your weaknesses. Or market yourself correctly where your weaknesses don't matter. They're not perceived as weaknesses. Huge difference. If someone thinks your weaknesses keep you from getting the job or the funding or etc., you're not talking to the right people. If they change you, someone say?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So on my part about being detail oriented,
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of works against me sometimes too because I burn out. Because I can't stand to leave stuff unfinished. and
Great
so then
example.
I burn out.
So the comment there is the detail orientation is a huge strength in the right way.
Right.
But it's also a weakness internally versus the comment before that I think that detail-oriented person is a weakness. The detail weakness for Deb, the human, is burnout. So the weakness side of detail orientation, the burnout, is probably more along the lines of how do you organize your time, right? So thinking about a weakness in the real weakness, being detail oriented isn't a weakness for you. Perhaps organizing your time or balancing your life is.
That's why we hired Jan.
That's, see? So these examples, the hire helps. Hiring somebody that helps from that standpoint. Now, if one of your strengths causes you to run yourself into the ground, the weakness is actually allowing yourself to be run into the ground. So how do you counter that? And for you, I don't know exactly, but it's probably around those lines of managing your time better, hiring somebody, that's helped, I'm sure, right? Being balanced or integrated. The entrepreneurs in the room know what I mean when I say there's no such thing as balance. It's integration. So you integrate your health and wellness, your exercise, your downtime. What does downtime mean for an entrepreneur? You know, starting a new business. Right? Yeah. So, balance and integration, the best way to make sure that you're healthy, you're eating well, you're managing your time correctly, those are weaknesses that somebody like Deb, and maybe you, Deb, need to work on, as opposed to forget about. Okay? Because it matters to your health in that example. You don't want to run yourself into the ground. Now, we work really hard, and if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, you're running, and obviously those vacations mean something. That's part of downtime, right? But usually entrepreneurs and people that are driven towards something they really care about, those vacations, you know, become part of the deal. I know Tom's speaking in Madrid next month, and you're going to, and that might be a good example of an integrated deal. Now, I don't know, maybe you're just going there and speaking and leaving, but I bet you're putting some vacation time in there too. That's fantastic. That is how an entrepreneur vacations, right? I'm in DC for a week next month. I'm speaking too. I can't just cash out for a week. I'll go nuts. Same with my wife. We're out there for good reason. It's very social. Nephew's graduating from the Naval Academy out there. So we're going to all the ceremonies and doing the different things, but yep, laptops are coming. Had to have wireless in the house we're staying at. I have no choice.
Yeah, you have to call ahead for him.
You have, so one of my weaknesses might be perceived as the ability or inability to cash out for a little bit. But that's a perception from other people. I need to make sure that I'm eating really well, I'm healthy, mentally and physically, and I'm having a blast every day. That hop out of bed Monday morning passion, no alarm clock, out of bed.
When's Monday?
Exactly. People that were at the product launch boot camp that I had the privilege of being part of a couple months ago, we talked about that. The hop out of bed Monday morning passion for an entrepreneur might be Thursday afternoon. But you get my point. You wake up, you go, and you get it done, and you love it every single day. So my weakness of not being able to cash out and having to bring my laptop and work, well, I have a website that has 30 to 100 people on it as we're talking right now. I want to make sure that I don't have my team not completely in place to help manage the thing. So I need to be in. And I want to be in.
I listed one of my weaknesses is that I don't answer all my emails.
Okay?
I think probably the actual weakness is I feel guilty about it.
All right. Guys, bingo.
But put into perspective that he gets about 500 or 600 a day. So, I mean, he's...
So here's the deal. Tom said that responding to emails or not responding to emails is the weakness, but the actual weakness is feeling bad about it. And that's actually a strength. So now you can counter these things. Your intuition about feeling bad is going to be your drive and your power to make sure that you start touching people that are reaching out to you. Tom feels guilty, I'm putting words in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong, because somebody's taken the time to communicate with Tom and he hasn't valued them enough to respond. Ouch. Is that about right? Okay. So if you care to make that change, you will find a way to make that change.
Oh, don't give him any ideas because he'll just shift them all to me.
Well, there's a delegation. Delegation is an amazing thing. But now you need, right, we need to monetize. If we have these many emails coming through and it's not reflecting opportunity, the other side of SWOT analysis we're about to get to, then we got a problem. You might have a huge opportunity right in front of your face because of the emails that you're not responding to. Believe me, I understand this. I'm pegged so much every day. Email, on my forum, phone calls, and I want to reach and connect with everybody, and I do. And it's very, very difficult. I value that. You don't. So the change in that discipline is going to come in the form of what are you going to do about it, and how you're going to communicate and set an expectation with people. Today, you can do that with your emails and the websites and everything else. You can set expectations. I've called VCs and people and different people that get ransacked like we do with information. And the expectation is, I will get with you in 3 weeks. If I don't know you, there's some sort of expectation that's set, and it works. So you go away as the connector and say, okay, I'm not on the radar screen. It's probably going to be 3 weeks before I hear. But you got to manage your time, and you've got somebody that can help you do that with the details. You put something in place. Put that into an example for yourself, whatever it is, whatever that weakness is. Does it hurt your ability to be successful or not? In this situation, there's an opportunity there, so we're probably going to want to address how we can communicate with all the folks coming your way, right? That's a tough challenge.
Well, he could probably shorten the emails, because a lot of times when he does an email, it's like 4 or 5 paragraphs.
Tom himself can shorten his emails?
Yeah, he can shorten emails so he can actually answer them by maybe just giving them a lighter
Right.
response.
There's a good creative thinking example, and we just learned a lot about Tom, right? That the detail and the information that you send is part of the reason that you don't respond to everybody, because you know how long it takes you to respond to somebody. So maybe working on a way to touch base with somebody and at least bring back that guilt because you connected, you touch base, even if it's to say, I'm going to write you a book in a month, but wait till I'm on the plane so I can do it. Set the expectation. Now your brand has some value from that standpoint. Okay. Any other weaknesses we want to talk about to make sure that we understand what we put down as a weakness and what maybe we don't care about? Again, we don't want this laundry list of weaknesses on our weakness quadrant, because most of them we don't care about. So what are the ones that matter?
Well, I put self-doubt and inability to move forward.
Thanks for sharing. Self-doubt and inability to move forward. That is absolutely a weakness, I would imagine. You put it down and it matters to you. So how can we help you with that?
Well, I wrote down after we were talking, I said, I need a coach.
Okay. So there you go. Folks, are you seeing the trend here? Every single time that someone has been sharing a weakness in this example, it always comes to people. Somebody else helping, delegating, building a team. You can't do this on your own. You have to have a personal board of advisors. Oh, by the way, that's one of my products. Well, personal board of advisors is very deliberate to help with these things, right? You need a team. Everyone needs a team. So you need a team to help you with these things and get you to a point, we all do, where your weaknesses are either gone because we don't care about them, or they're built up to the point where we can effectively leverage our strengths to counter the weaknesses. Now, any one of you that happens to have weaknesses where you have a people problem, where you can bring someone around you, and your strengths happens to be around perhaps building teams, just as an example, what are you going to do? You're going to really recruit well. That's what I do. I'm bad at everything. So I recruit people. So I'm not bad at anything.
The Henry Ford method.
What if your weakness is building teams?
Mine's not.
Well, mine is.
Okay. Want to fight? No. Well then,
You should hire him.
you should hire. Boy, this is a smart room. So the comment was, what if one of your weaknesses is building teams? And that's a weakness for a lot of people. I'm going to put building teams as a strength, not just a core competency for me. Why? Because I've built more teams than everyone in this room combined. And I can kind of guess that just based on what I've heard and the sheer number of people that I've recruited. It is a strength. So you should probably hire me or somebody like me to help you either learn how to do it, if you have enough skills to learn, or delegate it entirely. Who's listening? What did I just say there? How did we pull this stuff together just now?
Find somebody who can help you either learn to do it or delegate somebody who can do it for you.
Now, who are the listeners in the room?
I heard hire Dave.
Figure out a strategy around it.
Incorporating the team.
Make your weakness a strength by incorporating a team was part of it. The compensation for the weaknesses you have. Folks, we spent a fair amount of time on the skills that lead into core competencies and truly understanding what those are, because that's what people buy, right? So if we're going to leverage these things to make sure that our weaknesses are something that we don't care about as much and we can delegate, we need to pull into all of this. This all needs to come together. And with practice and self-awareness, you'll be so confident that you'll know exactly what to do if a situation comes up and you don't know how to build teams, but you have to. You'll learn from the skills that you bring to the table of what you can and can't do, who you need to build teams, or whatever the situation would be. So pulling all these things together is pretty critical part of the deal. It's hard. It becomes easy. You'll know it. Sometimes it comes in forms of goosebumps and being so self-aware and so confident when you nail it. I love what I do for so many reasons. Thursday was a remarkable day for me because I got two sets of goosebumps because of what we uncovered with my clients in the Define Them process. One realized that his vision is the face of real estate changed. He's going to change the face of real estate. Now, the conversation that led up to that made him cry. I got goosebumps. He's going to change the face of real estate. Now, when you hear about him, and you will, when you hear about what he does, you're going to realize and learn that his ability to change the face of real estate is going to be about compassion, knowledge, and community. He's going to change the world one community at a time. Oh, and by the way, he makes money selling real estate. The second one happened right after Your Brand Radio, with someone who happened to come to Your Brand Radio. Tears came to his eyes when it occurred to him during the conversation, and you should listen to Your Brand Radio last week. Our guest was one of the best advertising minds on the planet. He has a ton of Clio awards and best campaigns in decade by Ad Age magazine, different things. He's brilliant. And having the conversation about dusting off your dreams had an opportunity for people, some heads are shaking, some people know Bill Miller, right? Bill Miller is a remarkable person. Most people don't understand how remarkable he actually is. It's a brand problem, seriously, okay? But our conversation live on Your Brand Radio struck chord with somebody who came up to me afterwards and said, I'm going to create a new segment of jazz. Whoa, it's got goosebumps again. It happened twice. He started crying. Why? Because he found his passion. 51 years old, and he is going to create a new sound. Folks, what is it in you? When you go through your skills, your core competencies, your SWOT analysis, and you think about these different things, what are you going to do that is going to change your world? Small w. You don't have to change the world. What are you going to do to change your world and innovate your career? When you die, people at your funeral will look back at you and talk about all the core values that you care the most about. But they're also going to say, this person loved this. Yes, we are defined by our careers in many ways. It's not the only thing that defines us, but we are defined by our careers because we want to do something that we're excellent at and be known for it, right? We want to do that. So when you find that passion, that purpose, and your ability to drive with it, those goosebumps happen to everyone around you. And do you not think you're going to create those evangelists? And people are going to fill in the blanks and make sure that they fill in your weaknesses so they build teams around the genius? Okay, so you figure out what it is and you start to communicate it and you tell everybody. Rick Jansen is going to tell everybody that he's changing the face of real estate. Why am I confident in his ability to do that? Because I know how he's going to do it. He doesn't yet. He doesn't. He's working on the details. He's too much of a visionary. So he hired me. He's a genius. And others to help him do it. Okay? When he starts telling everyone why he wants to do this and the reasons he wants to do this, people are going to line up behind the leader. Okay? So, the other side of a SWOT analysis are opportunities and threats. If we understand our internal, the strengths and weaknesses, and we let other people help us make sure we understand what these are, then we're going to go out into our environment. Opportunities. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are. What are the opportunities? So give me an example of what an opportunity would be for you based on your strengths and weaknesses.
Chaos.
An opportunity would be chaos. Please explain that one.
There's a lot of people in chaos right now that need help pulling their lives back together, getting rid of the inessential things. I help do that.
So, the best way for you to answer that next time is to start with the end. So instead of saying chaos, and we all went, what? You're going to say what? What do you do? When somebody has chaos and they come to you and you do what?
Help get rid of things that are inessential.
He helps people get rid of things that aren't essential. That's different than saying chaos. So an opportunity, it sounds like it's an opportunity for them. And I love that. When we can start communicating about them, you are onto something. Why? Because you can start behaving in a way that they care about. That forces you to be excellent at something like customer service. If your opportunities are about how you can help somebody else, whatever that means, you're going to inspire people, starting with yourself. So chaos, helping people eliminate chaos might bring a different perception. Now we have something to talk about. Okay? That conversation around that will start leading into how you're going to do it. Skills, competencies, strengths. What's that?
Team.
Team.
Putting together a team.
Okay. What other opportunities do people have in front of them that they didn't maybe realize? You don't realize you have. What's an opportunity for somebody? Give me a big one. Come on, dreamers. What's an opportunity? Well, think about this for yourself. Write down these opportunities. Write them down. What are they? And then start sharing them with people. What are the opportunities? Yes, ma'am.
I've been working for probably 12 years, almost solely on the phone to people in different areas of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, it's been a bit challenging for me to work in person. So me being able to work directly with people in a group environment is a great opportunity for myself and the group to be able to experience what's possible.
If you are dedicated to take the time to be better at working in a group.
Yes.
Right. So that comment was about the strength and the ability to be effective on the phone, perhaps, but it doesn't translate well in a room like this or one-on-one with somebody. Fair? Did I summarize that correctly? So your goal then would be to, if you care about it, would be to become more confident in a room or face-to-face with people. And what skills does she need in order to do that? Something to think about. What skills do you need to think about how to be confident in a room or one-on-one, eye-to-eye? Now that critical thinking starts to bring up process, programs, things that you need to do. If you're operating like a business, then you know that you need to perhaps raise some money because you're probably going to have to do some training. You're going to have to hire some people to help you out. You're going to have to go to some conferences, whatever. Whatever you find those examples to be that's going to make you better at what you care about. People, if you truly care about being better, in these elements, so your opportunity in this context goes through the roof, because now you can go in front of a group of people instead of only doing it on the phone. It's a perfect example. That's a huge opportunity if you truly care about it. And I think you do.
I do very much.
Okay, maybe I know you do then. Awesome. That action, starting Monday, is going to be about developing the skills that it takes to be effective in that environment and surrounding yourself with the people that are going to help you get it done. It's going to take money, it's going to take time, and that dedication is going to be huge. People are going to see it, you're going to prove it, they're going to trust you, your business will grow. So what are threats? They're not weaknesses, remember, this is the external environment. What would be a threat to your ability to succeed? Some of them are pretty obvious, like getting hit by a bus.
Competition.
Competition is a great example of a threat to your ability to be successful. So how are we all have competition problems, do we not? Or at least perceived competition problems? So how do we keep competition from threatening our ability to survive and be successful? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Differentiate yourself from the rest.
Differentiate yourself from the rest. Absolutely. How do you do that?
Be better.
Being better is really important to differentiate yourself. Absolutely. I love Carl Dakin. Be better. Absolutely. Folks,
Do it anyway.
you have to understand who you are and what you bring to the table. First, you have to understand what's different and unique about you first. Otherwise, there's no way you can counter the competition. You can't. Otherwise, you're just saying, I'm not them. And usually for people that believe, and I'm going to summarize the conversation there just in my response, and a lot of this, folks, is for the sake of the video for people that are listening afterwards. But the opportunity to tell other people they were wrong is a huge inspiration for folks. Right? And that is why big dreams are important. What's your big dream? And again, I can't wait to get the mission vision stuff. But having that big dream and everything that's important to you, the lifestyle you mentioned, and hopefully there's some very specific external reasons that you're going to help people look beautiful and be confident or whatever they were to you, right? So you put those things into play, and others say you can't do it, but you truly want to and can, you do it. And that inspiration sometimes is the biggest thing. So how do you get inspired to the point where everyone in the room says you can't do it? Well, you have to have a big enough dream. Right? Your dream has to be so big that everyone says you're nuts. Okay? Michelangelo has my favorite quote, and it's on all my stuff, the strategic career plan, my websites, numerous places. And he talks about the biggest mistake that we make is setting goals that are too small and reaching them. We should be, I'm paraphrasing at this point, we should be setting really big goals and missing them. Imagine hitting 80% of something magnificent compared to 100% of something that no one cares about, including you. What's the difference? But I would still shoot for the 100%. And if your 100% isn't big enough, change the 100%. What?
You just lost me. 100% of things that no one cares about?
Well, imagine you set this goal and you reach it. And who cares? You don't care about it, no one else cares about it. Does it matter? So set a bigger goal that makes a difference to yourself and to other people. Cure world hunger?
Yeah.
Is that true for you? Or are you just making one up?
No, that's true for me.
Okay, so if you're going to cure world hunger and we think you're nuts, how are you going to prove to us that you're not? And if you truly want to cure world hunger, you're going to prove to us that you're going to, and we're going to line up behind you because you're our leader. So you have to truly believe in it. Like Tiger Woods does, folks. Tiger Woods believes that he's the best golfer. He really does believe that. Not, I'm going to tell you I'm the best golfer. He is the best golfer. That belief in being the best golfer is why he's the best golfer. Vision. He knows what's going to happen. And when he doesn't, he's off. We can all be Tiger Woods. Those of us that are physically capable, we can swing a club. Everyone in this room can be Tiger Woods. Did you know that? You do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I totally know that.
You totally know that. When the rest of you totally know that, you're going to change your world. Fill in you with golf. Okay? What are the threats? Just a couple minutes, we're going to take another break. Doubt? Self-doubt?
Yeah.
Self-doubt's a huge threat to the ability to be successful. And how do you counter self-doubt? How do you counter self-doubt to make sure that's not a threat to your ability to be successful?
Small successes.
Knowing yourself. Okay. The next answer, and the one after that, and the one after that, I'm going to always go back to knowing yourself. There's your trick. So write down your threats, and every single time, if it's a threat to your ability to be successful, why? Why is it a threat to your ability to be successful? 100% of the time, it's going to be about you. It's not about the competition. It's not about any of these things. It's not even about the things in the environment that keep us down. How many people think the economy currently is a threat to your ability to be successful? Be honest. Okay? Everyone should have rose their hand because it is a threat to your ability to be successful. And then I would have picked on you all and said no one should have raised their hand. Because we create our own economy by being better than everybody else in whatever it is we want to do. Job seekers, stop looking for a job and go get one. Business owners, stop building your product and raising money and hiring people and do it. For real. Do it. Hop up every day and make it happen. Make an offer to an employer, job seekers. Don't wait for the offer. Make an offer. Make an offer to your clients, to your people buying your products. You're struggling right now? Make an offer. Change the game. I love when job seekers come to me and give me a value proposition that hits me between the eyes. If it makes sense, we're on. I'm not hiring. I'm not hiring. But if someone comes to me and tells me why I should hire them and they're right, I'll hire them. Same with you. Apply that to your clients, your customers, your future employer, etc. Okay? We're going to take another break, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
15-minute break.